Alright everyone, back with another response video. This one is for Hidden Gem. He wants to see your top 5 players that you like to collect in baseball and or football. And I've always said it's hard for me to rank anything in my collection, so I'm gonna bend the rules a bit as I often do. So for the Yankees I chose 7. Could have easily chosen 20 Yankees, so be happy that I only chose 7. So here we got Bernie Williams, which obviously a lot of people know I like to collect. And you got Derek Jeter, who I don't really talk about a whole lot, but I have a ton of Jeter cards. I just don't pick up a lot anymore because anything decent is overpriced these days. And then Don Mattingly, who I talked about when I did the Mattingly binder video a few weeks ago. Talked about what he means to me as a Yankee fan. Really, anyone who was a Yankee fan during that time loves Don Mattingly. There's just no way that you were a Yankee fan during those days and don't love him. Next, you got Jorge Posada, who's another guy I don't really talk about a whole lot, but was actually going to do a binder video for him recently, and just with all the response videos and mail days and stuff I've been doing, I kind of put it to the side for now, but I will do that soon. And he's very happy there, very happy to be on this list. Next, you got Mariano Rivera, which, again, not much needs to be said about him. One of the most dominant relievers ever, if not the most dominant reliever. And the Yankee bullpen has really missed him. Never been quite the same since he left. And then the last two, you got Paul O'Neill and Tino Martinez. I always kind of pair them together. I have a binder for just them two. Just two really good clutch left-handed hitters during that mid to late 90s era. And I have a similar amount of cards for both of them as well. And really for all these guys, they could all qualify for the Facebook Super Collector group, which the minimum number of cards that they want you to have to be on the list is 250 unique cards of each player, and I could easily hit that with any of these guys. But yeah, that's it for the Yankee portion of this, but I am going to put together another group for the baseball category. Alright, so for baseball I wanted to put together another group, this one representing my Puerto Rican collection, because as a lot of you know, I also love collecting Puerto Rican players in any sport really, and it doesn't just have to be stars either, pretty much any Puerto Rican athlete ever. So again, I could have easily chosen way more than this, but these were the ones I chose for today. Starting with Juan Gonzalez, who's a possible PED guy, but if you're going to complain about that, take that shit somewhere else. I don't want to hear it. Still one of the most dominant right-handed hitters of that era. One of the best RBI men of that era. Seems like every time he had a runner in scoring position, he would get him in somehow with a single, a double, or a home run. So loved watching him play, except against the Yankees. He used to kill the Yankees. But yeah, I love collecting them because he has a lot of really nice cards, and most of them are pretty affordable, which is kind of a theme for most of these guys. Next, you got his former Texas Rangers teammate, Ivan Rodriguez, pictured there with the Yankees. I'm sure a lot of people don't even remember that he played with the Yankees. Played with them for 2 months at the end of the '08 season. Jorge Posada got hurt, and the Yankees picked up Pudge. So yeah, I had seen him play against the Yankees in person with Texas. He had come in a few times, but only got to see him in person once when he was with the Yankees, and I remember all I wanted that day was for him to get a hit and to throw somebody out at second, and I got what I wanted. He got a single and threw somebody out at second, and so I went home happy that day. Next, you got Carlos Delgado, another fun player to watch. Big time power, sweet left-handed swing. Played a bit with the Mets. I got to see him in person when he was with the Mets. Got to see him hit a home run that day when I went, so that was cool. I always feel like if he had played his whole career with the Yankees or Dodgers or Red Sox or something like that, his cards would be worth way more because he has great numbers, but doesn't really translate into card value for him. Next, you got Jose Vidro. If you've been following my channel for a while, you've seen me pick up a bunch of cards of him. Really good second baseman. I believe he was an all-star a few times. I think he hit 300 a few times. So again, kind of an underrated player, very inexpensive player to collect. And the last three could pretty much go together. You got the world famous catching Molinas. You got Jose and Benji and Yadier. Loved watching all three of them, mostly defensively. All three of them just made catching into an art form. They were great defensively. Yadi has definitely been the best hitter overall and probably the most expensive guy in this whole list right here. But still, love collecting every single one of these guys. So that's it for the baseball stuff. Let's move on to football. And now for football, I chose to do it a bit differently. I chose my 3 favorite Giants to collect, and then you'll see what I did with the other spots. But here you got Amani Toomer, Tiki Barber, and Michael Strahan. And before anybody even says it, I understand these might not be considered the 3 greatest Giants of all time, but I'm just saying, for me personally, these are my 3 favorite Giants to collect for a number of reasons, really. Around the time I really started following the Giants, these were 3 young, up-and-coming players on the team, and so I got to watch them develop, got to watch them work hard and get better little by little each year. All 3 of them became Pro Bowlers. All 3 ended up ranking at or near the top of a lot of Giants categories. 2 out of the 3 became champions. Tiki played in a Super Bowl, but that was the one that they lost to the Ravens, which Amani and Strahan were also on that team, but then Strahan and Amani were still around that first time they beat the Patriots. They weren't here the second time they beat the Patriots, but glad that they at least were able to get a ring. Wish Tiki could have got one too, but as they say, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And another thing I like about them is they have cards during that era that I love, like the mid to late 90s era and even into the 2000s. And they still even pop up in some modern stuff. So, yeah, they all have a lot of really cool cards to chase. And Strahan ultimately became a Hall of Famer, so he's the most expensive out of the 3. But still, some of his stuff is not too bad. So, again, those are definitely my 3 favorite Giants to collect. But let me show you some of my other football stuff that I like to collect. So other than Giants in football, I don't have too many guys that I would consider PC guys. I have a mixed binder with a lot of players from the Jets and Bills from throughout the years. And they've both had players that I enjoyed watching, especially the Jets because we get their games locally here too. So I watched a lot of Jets games in my time. But they never had a player that I was like passionate enough about to consider a PC player. So what I do like to do is just put this binder together with a lot of the guys I enjoyed watching in the 90s. So, but I don't call any of these guys individually PC players because I'm not like looking for cards of them every week on eBay or anything. It's just if I happen to find stuff with some of them like in fire sales or card show bargain bins and things like that, then I'll just find stuff to fill some of these pages. Got a bunch of Mark Brunell, who I always say I kind of collected just because I was always pulling his insert cards. But yeah, I just add a lot of guys like this in here. Got Eric McNair. Got some Eddie George. He was another one I really liked. Some more Eddie. Got a bunch of Terrell Davis. Enjoyed watching him. And then Mike Lang TV sent me a bunch of Terrell Davis stuff a few years ago. So he by far has the most cards in here. But yeah, I'll show the entire binder some other time. Let's just see who else is in here. But yeah, TD could probably have his own binder with how many cards I have of him. Jamal Anderson, he was another one I really liked for like the 2 or 3 years that he was good. That's a cool one. Got some Marshall Falk, Mike Allstott. So a lot of these guys that were good back then. Fred Taylor. Got some Randy Moss. Tony Gonzalez, he was a big one. Really enjoyed watching him. So again, I'll just occasionally add some cards of these guys, but will never consider any one of them individually a PC player, but all together they're going to make up my number 4 spot on this list. Got some old SPX there, but now let's get to the number 5 spot on the list. So here we have the very polarizing Tim Tebow, who I've collected a bit since his magical 2011 season, but don't have a whole lot of cards of him. Just every now and then I'll pick a few things up. But yeah, I know he has a ton of haters out there, which I've never quite understood. It's one thing to not think he's a good player, which is fine, but the Tebow haters take it to a whole nother level. It's like personal to them. Like they have this really intense, visceral hate for him, which again, I just don't understand. I don't know what it is that Tebow ever did to you guys personally to make you despise him so much, but and it's not even just fans, it's even people in the media who treat him that way. But as I've said before, I'll always be a Tebow guy. Unless he just did something like absolutely heinous, then obviously I would change my mind, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. If you read up about him and follow what he's up to, he's always doing good stuff for people. One of the most unselfish guys you're going to find out there. So again, don't have a ton of cards of him, but he's one of the few non-giant guys that I'll occasionally look for some stuff of. I do have this pretty nice auto of him, which I did not get during the height of his popularity. I got it a few years later. But still, even to this day, some of his stuff like this can be kind of expensive. Because like I said, he has a lot of haters, but the people that do love him, they really love him. And to this day, they push up the price on a lot of his better stuff. But again, I'll occasionally add a few like inserts and things like that. So that's it for the football stuff, but I do have one more athlete that I want to show. So Hidden Gem did not ask for our top 5 NBA guys, but I think he said he could do it if he wanted to. But I'm not going to do a top 5 for the NBA, but I am going to show my number 1 NBA guy, Michael Jordan. And really, this guy by himself could be my entire top 5. That's how much he means to me. It's funny, I've kind of become known as the Bernie Williams guy, but Jordan was the first athlete that really captivated me and even made me interested in watching sports and collecting sports cards. So definitely a very important athlete for me. And he's right up there with Bernie as one of the guys that I have the most cards of. I have over 900 Bernies and over 700 MJs. Although I've never done like an MJ collection video. I have 2 Jordan binders, never done a video for those. It's kind of weird. I kind of feel like I can't do him justice with a video, as weird as that sounds. Like, I feel like I would want it to be so perfect, and the video will never be as perfect as I want it to be. I know I just got to get over it and do it, and eventually I will, just haven't done it yet. But yeah, one of the things I loved about Jordan was not just the stats and championships and all that, but just his fire and his drive. Like, even after he had already won a few championships and been a multiple time All-Star and MVP, he just still kept working as if he had never won a championship or never won an MVP. And I think that's what really separated him from everybody else. That's what left an impression on me and made him my favorite athlete of all time. So there it is, Hidden Gem. I'm sure when I piece all these clips together, it's going to be much longer than I expected, but enjoyed making this response overall. So hope you all enjoyed watching it, and I will talk to you all again next time.